Good morning, guys. This is David from Busy Bee Farms, and I have to apologize to everyone that we've not had a bunch of videos to put out with the time change and the days getting shorter. By the time that when I leave it's dark, and when I get back home it's dark, so the amount of time that we have to get videos done has shortened to the weekends. It's hard for Laura to do videos through the week because of her kiddos, and we try our very best that they're not in our videos. But so this morning we're gonna take you along. I was gonna bring you yesterday, Saturday, to process my friend's chickens from work, and we got halfway there and realized that I had left the camera at the house. So we processed 48 chickens yesterday. It went pretty well. We did have a problem with the ground fault plug on the plucker, and I just removed it and put a straight plug on it. But this morning we're going to do our morning chores. Olivia is up and going to help. So we're just going to run through. We had a storm come through this morning. Started at 3:30, and so everything is sloppy and wet. But we're going to, let's see, we need some buckets, or scoops, I mean. Olivia, you know where the scoops are, honey? The feed scoops. No. So Matthew started taking the garden down yesterday because we were gone and I don't let him drive on the interstate. Then he couldn't get over to us, so he came home and took the rest of the garden down. So we got to pull the T-post, and after we get the T-post pulled, then we're gonna pull up a ground cover and let our layers roam on that ground. So one first step this morning is the girls, Miss Annabelle and Miss Thumper.
And we do have 2 new additions to the farm.
And we have 2 new rabbits that we've not showed everybody.
Annabelle, Thumper, why did you stick that in water?
They're a little hay barn.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see how big they're getting. Good morning, girls. Good morning, girls.
Okay, we're going to
I'm gonna change out your water. Okay. Do
fresh water.
yeah, dump the leaves. And then Olivia's friend from church had rabbits, Miss Brooke, and we had to build another hutch because these are 2 boys and they can't be together, and they can't be with the girls because we don't want 100 rabbits. But this one is strawberry.
Because of his eyes.
Good morning. Good morning.
And I come out before school every morning to feed them.
He ate that entire little thing of hay yesterday. I gave him a little hay barn yesterday. And this one
Is Sugarfoot.
is Sugarfoot.
And he's very pretty.
Good morning. Come here. Come here.
It's Sugarfoot.
Come here, Sugarfoot. Good morning. Good morning. The door come around, scared him. So those are our two new additions. I don't remember the names. Laura can tell you the breed names. And we've not decided if we're gonna raise any rabbits or not. They are meat rabbits, I do know that. But the two girls are meat rabbits. Did you find the scoops? The wind's really blowing this morning. Sorry, honey, I couldn't find the scoops. You had them down in there, didn't you?
Yeah, they stay down in here.
Okay. Can you take it? Here, I'll swap you. You know names.
And the bunnies are good this morning. There you go, ducks. There's your food. Matthew worked really hard yesterday when we were helping someone process their chickens. He worked on my garden and he took down a lot of the cattle panels and has torn down some of the tomato plants and things like that, so we can get those cleaned up and get our fabric up for the winter, and we can amend our soil a little bit through the winter so it'll be ready for the spring. He did a fabulous job taking that down. It definitely has a different appearance. And there's the duckies and our chickens. If you'll just talk real sweet to them and go right up under, then they'll let you get them.
That one stood up for me. This one started clucking at me.
Oh, well, I just talked to them real sweet and I pet them. Yeah. And they let me check. Good morning, sweet girls. Good morning. Good morning. No, Drake. Good morning, ladies.
This one's busted. You want me to give it to them? Or?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Good morning, girls. It rained hard on you ladies, didn't it?
Yesterday was a good laying day.
Yeah, they gave us a lot of good eggs. That's wonderful. And then I have been every day, David, if it looks like I need to add any more shavings, I use my scoop, my feeding scoop, and just put some in it. And then,
well, I need to come out here and clean it out again.
yeah, the top ones need it. But I didn't know if the bottom boxes needed it all.
I might do that this afternoon. Put a piece of metal up on top where they can't get up on top.
Oh, yeah. So we built a really nice roost for our chickens in the back so that everybody would have a place, but they're not so close and friendly. So they decided they would like to roost on top of our nesting boxes. And so all of the top nesting boxes they get filled with poop every week, and we have to clean them out. And they lay eggs on the bottom row, and so those, which is great, that's good. I can keep those cleaned and get to the eggs, but they're making a big mess up at the top, so we're going to try to fix that so maybe they will have more room to have places to lay eggs and not make such a mess. But they are sweet girls. I love these little Isa Browns. They're pretty, they're friendly, they're sweet. That's one of our Buff Orpingtons that we've had for a few years. And that's one of our Rhode Island Reds. I don't know if that's from last year or a couple years ago, but we definitely like our Isa Browns. They're doing a good job for us this year. And our ducks.
Crackers.
Our little ducks. We have tried to keep them with the chickens. They don't want to do that. We tried to give them their own place, but they didn't want to stay there. They like to just roam. So they do really well. They stay kind of back here where the garden is. They'll go to the front. They'll go over to our neighbor's house a little bit. They don't stay very long, but they have gone over there. But they just kind of like to be free and roaming, and they do good. They don't really run off too far, and they don't get into anything. They behave. So I guess that's just the way it's meant to be. And they get their food out here. I don't know what Matthew... Oh, there's their bucket that I usually put water in. But they make a nasty mess out of that. Alright, so the girls are done. The girls, the ducks, the bunnies.
We need to go
It's
do
time
Max's eyes.
for Max and then our
Look out, Greg.
other meat birds that we have. My mom's meat birds that we are still raising. They have another week, maybe a week and a half, depending on how they're growing. They'll be 8 weeks next Tuesday. But some of them are on the smaller side. When we had the hurricane, the tropical storm that come through here and dropped a ton of rain, it kind of stopped a little bit. So here are my mom's meat chickens. We have got to let the tractor up so they can come out to eat. But this is where we have had them, on this grass out here. They've been doing really well. They're growing really good. They've really taken off. And over here, we've not really showed this to you, but we planted this in September, I guess. And this is our kale and turnip green plot. This is all Siberian kale that a friend of mine gave to me to plant the seeds, and it has just come up super, super nice. Over there are turnips. They're not really taking off as good, but the kale, this little patch right here, our Siberian kale has really taken off and done really, really good. We tried to cover it the first night. We had some patchy frost, and then we decided just not to do that after that. I mean, it's done just fine. It's supposed to be cold hardy anyway, and not really necessary, but we didn't want to take any chances because we've never really grown kale before. But it is really good. It's really good. We actually had some the other day. We cooked it down just like if I were doing turnip greens, and then I also took some and seasoned with some sea salt and a little bit of cayenne pepper just to give it a little bit of a kick, and then I dehydrated it to make some kale chips. So I did that. I never done that before either, and so that was kind of fun. They're good. They're good. I definitely added a little too much cayenne. They definitely have some heat. And then here is the rest of this is turnip greens, which we need to start harvesting and putting up and having to eat. We've eaten some of it fresh, and but there's a lot of it that still needs to just be picked, and we can put up to have for later. So super excited. We tried to grow these turnip greens back in the spring, and we had it over there in our back garden, but it just didn't do too well at all. And so we put this here for the fall, and we are super happy with it. So let's go over here to the chickens. They're ready to eat. David has already filled up their food bowl, and he is getting the tractor up. I should have been over here to help him instead of telling y'all all about those greens. But they are getting bigger. They're looking good. they're getting close to 8 weeks. We may go another week with them just to give them that extra weight. We'll see how they grow this week. But they're doing really good. They look good and healthy, and I know we don't really need to have a heat lamp on them in the tractor, but we decided to, just with the transition of the weather being so crazy with all the rain, and then it got really cold, and then it's been really warm, and I don't know, we have found that the Cornish just really is temperamental sometimes with all the changes like that, and so we just went back to what we did.
Temperamental, she means they die.
Yeah, I mean, they will die. They will get sick and die. So, back in the spring when we had them, we had our very first batch of Cornish cross chickens, and we just kind of treated them like we would our layers. And so they got some heat and things like that just to get them through the spring, and it worked fine. Yes, we have to pay for the electricity for the heat lamp, but then I would, rather my birds survive. So, we do that for them at night. And they do great. They do really, really good.
Because if you remember, guys, this batch started out with 80 chickens, and the hurricane came, and they were down there in the
front garden.
The front garden where it was muddy.
Yep.
And they were standing on top of each other, and we lost a bunch.
We lost a bunch where they were sinking down in the mud, and they were pushing each other down in the mud, and we learned the hard way about what the weather can do and affect your chickens, and so we lost a lot that way, but we still have a good bit, and they are growing. And a lot of lessons learned. That's one thing about homesteading. It's never easy. It's never always the same. Everything is different. It's always changing. The weather's always changing. Your animals are always changing. Everything is a factor. And so you just have to learn from your mistakes. And that's exactly what we've done. And trying to raise them the best that we can, because that's our goal, is to raise them in a good environment as humanely as we can, so that they can live out their life and serve the purpose that they're here for, which is to provide food for our family. So,
and not hiding anything from you guys, telling you like it is.
Yes.
We messed up on that, and I should have known, and
because the garden, of course, didn't have grass or anything. It was mud.
I'm
and
gonna go and put this piece of mud.
Okay. And it got, super wet and soggy, and they were still little. They were like 4 or 5 weeks of age, so they were still kind of little, and they were just trying to survive, and the rains came so quick. But what we had to do is we ended up, when we lost several, we brought them back up towards us, and it was fixing to get super cold, and they were wet, so we put them back in their brooder so they could warm up and dry out. And then a few days later, we had pretty weather again, and then that's when we moved them out here to the grass, so that they could go back to what's natural for them. Being in a brooder is not where they need to be, but that was our choice, to try to take care of them so that they didn't freeze and get sick and we lose more chickens. So they have definitely been a batch of chickens we have learned a lot of lessons from. And last night the wind blew the tin off the tractor, so David was gone to get that.
Just pan over and look at that garden space where the other chickens were.
So this is our back garden, and this is where our meat chickens were before we processed them. And we had sowed some of the annual rye grass, and you see where it's come up really, really good. The last place the chickens were right there, where there's not a whole lot of grass. That's where they last were before we processed them. But we've covered it with this ryegrass just to provide a cover crop for the garden through the winter. And then we put some leaves on there and things like that too, to just kind of help with the soil as the winter goes. And hopefully it will help with our soil bring nutrients so that we can have a really good garden in the spring. And we're gonna go and do Max's eyes. And so we saw someone give animal crackers to their goats, and we decided to see if our goats would like animal crackers, and now they are nuts.
They're like a bunch of crackers.
Oh my goodness, they are nuts over animal crackers. Every time we come down here to see them, they crowd around us, smelling in my pocket, noses in my pocket, trying to find animal crackers. I bring them specifically down here for Max because it's just a sweet little treat for him, since his little eyes. Hi, buddy. Hi, Max. Last weekend, we took our goats to a friend of ours from church, and they had a little fall festival for their kiddos, and we took Chip and we took Mac, and that's why they have their little collars on, and they really like those animal crackers. The kiddos came up and petted them and gave them animal crackers and feed, and they got lots of attention, didn't you, buddies? Yeah, those sweet boys. We took the boys because they're sweet compared to the girls. And here's Max, his little eyes. We gotta take care of him this morning.
Guys, I'm going to try to stick you in my pocket here so that you can see how we have to clean Max's eyes. This is dry eye syndrome that he has, and we have to clean the goop out because his eyes do not produce the tears to flush his eyes. So it takes two of us twice a day to hold him. Now remember, he's a 108 pound.
He's not even 100.
I thought he was 108.
He's 94 pounds.
Oh.
That's what he was the last time he was at the vet. The only reason I know is I had to get more medicine for him, so they were telling me how much he weighed.
Well, I messed that up then.
And I have the goats over here in my pocket trying to get my animal crackers.
So we have to clean them, get them good and cleaned up, and then once they're cleaned up, then we put the medicated drops. This is a prescription medication that the vet.
Hi, babies. Hi, my babies.
Hold still, buddy.
We get a 3-month supply at a time.
Drops. We put one drop in each eye.
Here we go, bud. Hello, my little boy goats. Hello, my little boy goats. I know. I have them. Right here. Max gets first because he has to get medicine. Max gets one first. Yeah. Oh, treats for the day. Treats for the day. There you go, baby. All right. Do one more. Woo-wee, that wind is still crazy this morning. Yeah, this wind is still crazy this morning.
Come here, Max. Max.
What's your animal cookie? Here you go, bud. All right.
Did you eat your bone? We brought him a bone out of a Boston butt last night. Alright, you have a good day. Be back to see you in a little while. The other goats are inside their barn chewing their cud, and our hay feeder down yonder. But anyways, guys, that was our video this morning. If we get into anything this afternoon, then we'll try to bring that to you. But like I said, I apologize that, you know, the videos are a little less than what they were. But with the time and the shorter days, if I try to make a video at night when I'm just getting stuff done, you're not going to be able to see anything. So I try to remember to do what I can on the weekends. So please just bear with us and stay with us. So we thank you for joining us. Take care and God bless.